Blutbad.
Hello and welcome back to another behind the scenes toy photography video. This week I'll show you how I had some fun experimenting with lighting. I call this shot No Funny Business. I'll also show you how I edited my image in Photoshop. I used a couple of Black Series figures for this shot that I rarely see anyone talk about. We've got the Toys R Us exclusive First Order Officer and the perpetual peg warmer Zorii Bliss. My goal for this shot was to experiment with lighting and maybe try something new. With that in mind, I built the entire scene around my light sources, which were two panel lights on the left and an old incandescent bulb on the right. Cinder blocks are a go-to ground surface for me. Their size and texture make them endlessly versatile and very easy to post figures on. Even still, I needed to use a figure stand for Zorii because her feet were just so small. I used a shallow depth of field to keep Zorii out of focus, while placing the officer nice and close to the camera to make him the focus. After that, I set up the background scenery, which was made out of both cardboard and 3D prints. As always, I'll leave a link to the 3D models in the description. Using the cinder block, I positioned these vent covers in front of my incandescent light. I positioned them carefully so that the slats would cast a pattern of shadows over the door frame there in the back. Then I used some packing foam to diffuse my LED lights before placing a doorway in front of them, limiting the light even further. Lights out and time to shoot. Here was my starting image. Most of the time I use Photoshop to lighten photos up, but this time I wanted to edit it to be much darker. I added a levels adjustment layer to really crank the shadows and highlights before adding some more adjustments for color balance. Next, I used a variety of tools to touch up the articulation joints on the officer. I also did some digital dusting and touched up some of his facial features. These figures can often look a little dead in the eyes, so I like to add a bit of shine to give them some life. Finally, I cropped the image and added a custom vignette. So once again, here's my starting image. And here's where I ended up. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing and checking me out on Instagram. Thanks, and until next time.